175 proof. 189 proof.
Well, welcome back to Barley and Hops. Yep, I'm George. This is the channel that dares to unlock all those mysteries of home distilling. You know it. We are at the final. This is the apex. We're going to introduce to you the talking proof and trail hydrometer, better known as the Parrot Head. Now, first and foremost, I want to say a shout out, and I also want to say thank you to Mark. Mark, who was instrumental in the programming and a lot of information and ideas about the design of the Parrot Head. So Mark, thank you, because there is no way I could have gone through this. I could have gotten all the physical portions all completed, but the programming was just overwhelming for me, and you prove your muster. And thank you, my friend. So, now, this has been I know this has been a long time, and I appreciate your patience, but now we can offer the proof and trail hydrometer, the talking proof and trail hydrometer, to our community, all right? And, oh, by the way, I do now understand why there's an R&D, research and development, arm of most major corporations. We had to put this through its paces just to make sure that it was universal, and it was user-friendly, and that it worked each and every time. And that has taken us quite a while. Many failures. But we now have a resounding success. Here's what I did final. Okay, of course we had to test it in every environment and in all other kind of ways, different wiring configurations and different adaptations. We've got this now to where it is the simplest application, and it will measure the proof of your spirits as they are being produced out of your still, and it will audibly tell you what that proof is. Now remember that the instigation for this was in order to support our blind community, of which we have many blind distillers. But there are many other adaptations, and there are many people in the community who just find it necessary to have a similar device. So we're proud to expose this to you today. The very last test I did was called the blind test. I know a lot of people. I know a few people. So I chose a person that has nothing to do with the distilling community. That just happens to be a person that I'm acquainted with. And I called it the blind test because I handed them the box. And I asked him, I said, these are the only instructions I gave them. I said, if you would please take this home, work with me, take this home, open it up, follow the instructions, and then give me a call and let me know how it works out. And they said, what is it? I was like, that's all I can tell you. I just need you to do this for me. This is something I'm working on. Oh, and about 30 minutes later, I got a call, and in the background, I could actually hear
199 proof.
And they told me that it took him 17 minutes, start to finish. And I was amazed. I went, okay, boom, we succeeded. So let's get on to wiring this thing up. I'll show you how it's wired, and then I'm also going to go a real quick review. And here's a playlist of the first 3 videos that lay out the impetus, and then wiring 1 and 2, and we use the Arduino Uno, but we have now moved to, and remember I told you you could use a Nano, or you could use the Mega. It doesn't matter which board you use. They all load and work the same way. Their wiring configurations are a little bit different, but I'm going to show you this. Okay. Now, when that box showed up, and that individual opened the box, what they found was a set of instructions. I mean, this is probably about 10 or 12 pages, and what we actually did is we did pictures with a lot of graphics, sort of, just follow it step by step, and all you have to do is just follow the instructions, and it kind of wires itself, and then it works. So this is what it looks like in the end. And what I want to do is I'm going to take this apart real quick. I'm just going to lay the pieces out, and then we're going to wire it together, start to finish. It only takes a couple of minutes, and then we'll show you how it works. Okay, so these are the components, again, that come in the box with instructions on how to actually put this together. So if you've got the box, you can just turn the video off right now. It's not going to be that much more of an aid to you if you just follow the instructions, because it's a pictorial guide. So I'll go through this rather quickly. At least is the 9-volt battery, which you supply, and of course the dongle that we use to plug it into the Nano to make it work. And this thing will operate for like 7 hours off of one battery, which is phenomenal. All right, now what we do not provide in the box, obviously because of its size, is the physical makeup of your Parrot. And I want to review just quickly. This is a brew house model of a Parrot, okay? And in the brew house model of the Parrot, they use a 1.5-inch stainless steel collection portion. And that fits perfectly inside a 1.5-inch PVC, black PVC pipe. But the challenge is that you see how it sits just a little bit crooked? Yours will probably work that way, okay? What I have done is I've added a small sleeve that goes in here. And I got that sleeve, and you'll notice how straight up and down that is. And that's because it's shimmed up on the inside just a little bit. And I got that sleeve from, and you'll see I've already got this one cut out for the next one. But this is a 1.5-inch drain pipe that goes underneath the sink. And they make one end of it just a little bit larger than 1.5 inches so that you can put another one in there, okay? And that's the portion that you're looking for. And I just cut around here, it's cut the threads off, and I cut it here. And that left me with this small piece here. All right? And that's just enough to shim it up. And yes, I had to hone out just a little bit so it would fit in here snug. And that left me with just enough to go in there. Now remember, these are 245 millimeters in length. All right? So measure that in millimeters. 245 millimeters in length. And the reason that we measured it in millimeters was because our proof and trail hydrometer, the audible portion, and the Nano measures the distance in millimeters. Since it's such a finite measurement, it measures in millimeters the distance between the top of your column, of your column, and the top of your proof and trail hydrometer. So you are responsible for this portion. I cannot do that. There's no way that I can account for each and every individual Parrot itself. So just make your own. There's your videos again. Follow those. And then last but not least is the proof and trail hydrometer itself. And if you go back to one of those videos, I showed you exactly how to make that plastic head that goes on top and how to attach it so it doesn't go anywhere. That's as far as you need to go. The only thing else you're going to need in order to assemble this is a small flat tip screwdriver. Let's get started. Well, now this is the very beginning. This is the Arduino Nano. This is the Nano itself. And it's already attached to the board. And you'll notice that I've got all of these screw terminals on both sides. And they correspond to the individual pins that are on both sides of the Nano. So all we're going to do now is we're going to attach wires to each one of these respective pins that are needed in order for this thing to operate. So it's relatively straightforward. Okay, this is our time of flight sensor. Now our time of flight sensor, as I told you before, has 6 places for wires, but we're only going to use 4 of them. We're going to use the ground, the 3.3 volts, the SDA, and the SCL pins. Please don't make me tell you what those mean, because it doesn't matter. All you've got to do, all you need to know is where they are and where they go to. This is your time of flight sensor. This is your emitter and your receiver. And these two things on the very end, in this particular case, because it's made by SparkFun, they make a quick connection, which is a small cable that just sticks in there, and that eliminates these 4 connections. But this is the way we do it. This is the way it will come, and it will come with a very long cable that you can use in order to adapt your own talking Parrot Head. So, you want this here, and you want your sensor somewhere else. Now, the only thing that we really need to know is which one is the ground. Well, the ground is the brown one. So we'll take the brown wire, the very first brown wire, and we'll find the ground pin, which is next to last pin on the side. And then we'll just slide that in. And just be careful, and just screw the screw down. Next, we have the red pin. And the red wire is the 3.3 volts that is required in order to run your time of flight sensor. And let's slide that into the, and that goes right there. It's the second screw, and it's written right on the side. So you connect that. And then we have 2 other pins. We have the SCL and the SDA. And SCL is the yellow one. SDA happens to be the orange one in this particular case. And remember that it makes no difference of the color. Yours may be different colors. It may be blue and green. It wouldn't matter. As long as you know where it originates and where it should terminate. Okay? So we'll take the SCL, and the SCL shall go to pin number A5. So we'll slide that into the side. Now make sure, of course, don't just slide it in there until you've loosened up the screw and then screw it down. Okay? If you don't loosen the screw, there's no way to get it in there. And then I've got A4 already loose. And then so we'll slide in the SDA into A4. And they just stick right in there, and then you screw them down. All right, now, once you've got that done, just set that aside. Because the next step is to, remember, we already said that this one runs off a 3 point, well, that's this. Your time of flight sensor runs off of 3.3 volts. Okay? These 2 items run off of 5 volts. So you have a 5 volt port, and you have a 3.3 volt port. Now, we've already used the 3.3 volt port for our time of flight sensor. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the pigtail, or the spliced, or split, however you want to describe it, power cable and ground cable, and I'm going to connect these 2 together. Watch this. Let's take the red cable. And if you look on your LM386, you'll notice that VCC, here it is. VCC is your very first pin. And it's marked that way. Just slide that on there. Then you'll take the other lead and you'll pick up your micro SD card reader and connect that to the second pin, because that's the one that's marked VCC. Now, both of those require 5 volts. So we have a 5 volt lead here that goes to the 5 volts, and your 5 volt pin is located way down here, not far from the ground pin. Okay, as a matter of fact, there's one in between that. If you're not careful, you'll connect it to the wrong one and wonder why it won't work. Just be careful. You're not going to hurt it. Just be careful. So you connect that to the 5 volts. Screw that down. Now that leaves us with the ground. Of course, we have another pigtail. And this is the black one, the ground. And of course, that one goes to the... Now, on your LM386, you have 2 grounding pins. You can use either one of them. It doesn't matter. I tend to use the one on the inside because it just makes it look right. And then the other one is the very first pin on your micro SD card reader. Now you'll find another ground pin on the opposite side of your board. And that is found right over here. You see it right there. So, oh, nope, that's the RX. It's right there, as a matter of fact. See, that's why I say you got to pay attention that you get it to the right pin and to the right screw. So insert that. And then screw that down. So now we have power that goes to our LM386 amplifier, and it also goes to our micro SD card reader. So far, so good. All right, we need one wire because we're going to finish up the amplifier. And the amplifier only needs one wire for its source. And that goes to the in. And that in pin is located in between the hot and the ground. So you'll slide that in there in between those two. Attach that. Now that in wire is going to go to D10. D10 is located, that's 12, 11, 10. Right there, that's the third wire down. Slide that in there and then screw it down. Now that only leaves us with 4 other wires on. We have 4 more connections on our SD card. Other than that, it's complete. But now we've just got to get all the information going back and forth, you know, where it says, hey, get me this and send that and do this and do that. So in this particular case, you have MIOS, MOSI, SCK, and CS. Again, you don't need to know what they mean. You just need to know where they are. And lo and behold, in your kit, you've only got 4 wires left. And it doesn't matter which color goes where. So let's start off by doing this. Let's just start off by connecting all 4 wires to the SD card reader. And it really doesn't matter which ones go where. I'm just gonna throw them on there. Okay, there goes. That one plugs in, that one plugs in, that one plugs in, and of course, that one just plugs in. Come on. Good. So what I'm looking at now is in this particular case, I have the green wire. And the green wire is actually on my MISO pin. My MISO pin goes to D12. And that is D12. See, we already showed you there was D10, 11, 12. It's the one on the top. So I just attach that to D12. Oh, yeah, D12. And then screw that down. Then I go to my next one. And this one is the MOSI. And that happens to be the white wire. That one goes to D11. D11. Then my next wire is, in this particular case, just happens to be yellow. And in the yellow one is the SCK. And our SCK goes to pin number 13. And that's on the opposite side, the very first pin, or the very first screw terminal, next to my 3.3 volts. It just happens to be there. That's where they put it. And then I've got one wire left. And this one is the SC. No, I'm sorry, CS. This one is the CS, which actually means channel select. And this one goes to D4. So we'll just walk over here to find D4, slide that into D4. And that's it. We're wired. That's it. You've got the entire audible proof and trail hydrometer already programmed, already wired, ready to go. All we need to do now is add power. And when we do,
164 proof. 177 proof.
it's finding this way.
187 proof.
That's all there is to it, okay? Now all of this will be packaged up in a box. It'll show up, and remember, you'll get this. You need to provide all of that. And when you marry them together, it is a beautiful thing, and it'll run all by itself. Now, before you even start to write in, and please comment. Yes, there are many, many different ways in which to wire this, okay? There are also, if you're trying to make this thing a whole lot louder, yeah, you can put a larger amplifier on there. You could do a whole lot of different things. Like we did with mics, you could put a button to turn the speaker on, turn the speaker off. It's totally up to you. I mean, but again, through our research and development, what we've gone through is we found that this is the most rudimentary, the simplest way. All you've got to, it just works. After that, it's up to you how you adapt this into your system and how you make it work. The only thing left to do is place this sensor where it will sense the top of your hydrometer. So if you're interested, we offer these $119, shipping included, to your doorstep, and that takes care of all that we put into it, the programming and all the efforts and all the hard work to share with you so that you're able to do this on your own. Send me an email. If you're interested, there's our email address. Yes, there, and look, George doesn't care how you do this part, as long as you do this part within certain parameters. Remember, your tube must be 245 millimeters because it's already programmed for that length. That's primarily it. And your proof and trail hydrometer needs to have a hat on top of it. Other than that, anything else and everything else you do is totally up to you. I don't care what material you use. It doesn't matter to me. I just know this part works. And once you get this, it's up to you to make it fit that. Happy distilling.